We live sometimes in a way that we are not aware of many of the things that we go through. I always say that if I can be an entrepreneur, anybody can be an entrepreneur. Because I'm an introvert. I like to be on my own, and I do things with people and for people. In the beginning, I love it. But then when things are established, then it's torture for me. Management. I sucked. Terribly. Because I didn't want it, and I didn't enjoy it. But I managed, I forced myself to do it. It was like a dress which wasn't sewn for me, which I was trying to squeeze in, and it was showing that it wasn't for me. Anybody could see it, except me. Yes. And I was angry majority of the time. I would snap at things. I had panic attacks at one time. My life was working a lot and not looking at myself at all. And there were burnouts many times, which I could ignore very nicely. Why I was unhappy was not because of work itself. How I was treating work and myself was the problem. But I couldn't understand that. I just was using work to numb myself so I won't see myself. Because if I saw myself, there is so many losses, so many traumas, so many grieving that I had to do. And how am I going to do that? I didn't know. But now I can speak about those because I can look at it. But by the time I was just in it, trapped, like the hamster. Yes? Going. That was exactly the time when I heard about the project, and Ashoka people told me, do you want to do this? And I said, yes, please. Yeah. I changed a little bit. This little change reflected on the company a little bigger. That change in the company reflected on our whole community much bigger. So what I see now is this much change in the person can be reflected as such a big change. It's all about the relationship that we have with ourselves that's reflected to the others. Well-being process doesn't have an end. And I like that. It gives me a good feeling that that's a project that I'm not going to finish.
I can still remember the last word that I told my mother. I told her just to hang on because we will win this revolution soon. So I just nod and I said, okay, you just take good care. And I don't realize that that's the last time that I saw my mother. We never met again. Well, at the start, I think I'm only around 15 years old. We have a very tyrant president, and the political situations in the Philippines is not really stable. And I become a youth leader who organized young people to tell the story about liberation theology. And before I knew it, I'm one of the 3 female commanders of the underground movement. It's very difficult when you are a guerrilla fighter, when you are pregnant. So I have my first child when I was fighting in the mountain. I was forced to give him up. And then I received the news that my mother died. After that, it's really changed me, you know. I've become hardened. I hate the world, you know. And yeah, I lost. Yeah, I lost really my real person there. So we have this running gun battle with my 8-month belly, and we are trapped. We are surrounded by the military. So I have my, it's like my assistant who is always with me. We do a pax hole, and I buried my belly in the ground to cover my child, and then he covered me with lags. That man, and while she's trying to cover me, he was hit by the grenade, and I know that he's still calling my name when he died. And then we were put in prison. I gave birth to my second child. We start our family in prison. So after 4 years in prison, we were liberated. I want to get my other son. I want to gather all my children together, and I said that chapter of my life is closed. We're already in Manila during that time, and every Saturday we gather together in one of the university, and we talk about what's going on in our province and how can we work in the province. But what shocked us a lot is that there's a lot of missing children from the regions who work in Manila, child prostitution, you know, prostituted girls, and nobody knows where they are. So that's why we started to focus on children. So that's where the Visayan Forum started. The Visayan Forum becomes really my life and make me also reflect on what is the meaning of all of this and the sacrifices and where's myself stands on this. And I know that's the only time that I realized that I have so much trauma within me, that all that I have in my life, I don't have any time to mourn. I don't have any time just to process what's going on in my life. I'm just like a headless chicken who just continue to run and run and run and run. In the Wellbeing Project, I was able to go back to the original form of myself. I think it's the first time that I have really to confront all my guilts, that I have to confront with all my pains. I become cheerful again. I make a choice to become to what is really my purpose and direction in life. I do my work better now because I think I am coming from not from the hate. My dream is just really to share the joy and the knowledge and the gift that I learned from the Wellbeing Project, because for me it's really a gift, you know. Being joy, being happy is always a choice, and it is not others people's business to make you happy. It's only you and you can make yourself happy and joyful in this life.
at some point of time, I started feeling that I'm not able to relate to people. The real problem was that I did not know how to respond. For instance, if somebody says that I'm not feeling well today, so my immediate worry will not be about how do we take care of this sickness or wellness. My immediate worry would be then who finishes this job if you are going to go away. That would be my reaction. Well, the human being is right in front of you. You're not talking about the feeling that person is having. You're talking about the work. So, I'm never satisfied with what I've done. Nobody tells you to do it. But I think as a human being, you feel that responsibility internally. And as a professional also. That means what? That means that you are full time into it. I left literally everything. I could not give time to my son, to my wife, to my family, my parents. I would work till late night to check drawings. It became or started becoming much more difficult than before because the demand for this work started increasing, and that was the toll that was coming in with scaling. And probably I had not pushed the panic button. It was my wife Preeti who pushed the panic button. So when I first landed up in the first retreat in May, I had no kind of understanding of what is going to happen. I think I never talked about work with anyone, and I don't think anyone else talked to me about their work, and it didn't matter. And that was the best part of it. Internally, I felt that I was able to empathize with everyone around me much more than before. I felt it. So if somebody would now come to me with a problem of why somebody is ill and would not be available, my first response would be, okay, in what way can I help you? If you are not well, I will not talk about work. I think the centrality of human relationship, for me, has come to the central stage. My wife could see that I'm opening up. I'm opening up my feelings. I'm sharing them. I'm accepting them. I'm able to have these conversations of all kinds. She felt very good. I felt very good. I don't think that there is one perfect time for somebody to undergo a process of well-being. I think any time, anywhere is the right time. You don't need to first burn out and then get into it in the first place. At whatever point of time you realize its significance, that is the right time to simply undergo this process of realizing yourself, who you are, what is around you, what is inside you, and what is it that you can offer.